At exactly 5:17 local time, the forward mount aboard the USS Gravely suddenly came alive. Metal shifted under pressure, and the deck seemed to tense with it. Above the restless Caribbean, crew members stopped in place as the ship's internal channel carried one sharp message. Condition 3. Set and man all key stations. No one needed the situation explained. 3 unidentified surface contacts were moving in quickly from the southwest. Their speed continued to climb, and their formation was drawing tighter with every passing minute. On the tactical display, the contacts appeared under the call signs Sierra 123, with Venezuela listed as the flag of origin. On the bridge, the captain never raised his voice. He did not need to. Calm, precise orders moved through the ship with authority. Storage areas were secured, safety checks were cleared, and crew members pulled on helmets as they moved into position. Below, inside the Combat Information Center, the team tracked the contacts closing at a rapid 28 knots, bearing 243 and converging fast. The destroyer's 5-inch mount turned only a few degrees, but that small movement carried a clear message without a single round being sent. Visual confirmation had not yet been made. The profiles were low, most likely fast patrol boats. The Venezuelan vessels were running light, with no major heavy signatures detected, only speed, coordination, and unmistakable purpose. Whoever was steering them understood exactly how to approach without crossing the final line. The Gravely's electronic systems came fully online, spreading their sensors across the electromagnetic spectrum. Every signal, every ping, every emission was captured and logged. The crew had seen tense approaches before, but not with Caracas this upset, and not this close to the edge of international waters. This time, the order was not simply to wait. It was to show presence. The operations officer leaned over the surface tracking display. The contacts were now inside 12 nautical miles and still closing. Recommend we classify their posture as serious intent pending identification, he reported. Copy that, the captain replied. Maintain course. Systems ready, but hold engagement. Down along the main deck corridor, sailors moved quickly into their assigned stations. The 5-inch mount team checked the feed mechanisms. The CIWS close-in defense system, guided by radar, spun up its hydraulic drive. Its sharp mechanical whine could be heard even through the steel bulkheads. Every major system was now active. It felt like one of those fast approach drills that usually ends with nervous laughter. But drills do not arrive carrying national flags. A new call broke across the internal channel, tightening the atmosphere even more. Bridge, CIC. Contacts accelerating to 29 knots. The watch officer confirmed the update. Understood. Mark closest point of approach at 4.6 nautical miles. Plot interception vectors. The helmsman kept his focus locked on the destroyer's heading. He was holding the massive ship inside international waters by less than 3 miles. Any shift, any accidental drift, and the situation could be framed as a provocation. On the bridge, binoculars scanned the empty horizon. The bearing was unmistakable. The Venezuelan boats were driving straight toward the Gravely's beam. To military observers, that move says plenty without a single word. We see you, and we are not turning away. The captain touched the intercom, his voice steady. Engineering, maintain full power on the turbines. We may need to maneuver. This was no longer a routine exercise. The USS Gravely was not in this part of the Caribbean by chance. For the past 2 months, United States destroyers and Coast Guard cutters had been patrolling the southern Caribbean under Operation Sentinel South. Officially, the mission sounds simple. A maritime security operation meant to disrupt smuggling routes connected to waters near Venezuela. In reality, it carries a much clearer signal. Washington is watching. Only 4 days earlier, United States Navy helicopters had intercepted 2 fast boats suspected of moving restricted cargo toward Curaçao. One vessel was disabled after it ignored repeated warnings. Caracas immediately described the incident as a hostile action. The Pentagon framed it as enforcement at sea. Now Venezuela's Navy is answering in its own way, testing the narrow space between defense and provocation. The USS Gravely, an Arleigh Burke-class destroyer, is one of the most capable surface ships in operation. At 155 meters long, its SPY-1D radar can track more than 100 targets at the same time, while its Aegis combat system links the ship directly with United States and Allied aircraft overhead. That level of power is exactly what makes close encounters like this so tense. One mistake, one misread signal, and the situation can climb faster than anyone intended. The Venezuelan patrol craft, likely from the Guay class, are fast and lightly armed. They are well suited for pressure missions. They are not built to win a direct confrontation. They are built to force a reaction. Inside United States Southern Command, these gray zone encounters, actions that stay below the threshold of open conflict, are sometimes described by an unsettling phrase, controlled friction. It is the kind of friction that remains political until the moment it suddenly does not. For the sailors aboard the Gravely, the politics feel very far away. The immediate concern is less than 10 nautical miles out. Every important system on the ship is now awake. On the foredeck, the 5-inch 62 caliber Mark 45 mount waits in standby, its heavy barrel fixed toward the southwest. This system can send 70-pound shells more than 13 nautical miles, with enough precision to strike a moving fast boat if the situation ever required it. Behind that layer of defense, the Mark 15 Phalanx close-in system, known to sailors as Sea Whiz, spins up its 6-barrel Gatling mechanism. It can unleash 4,500 rounds per minute, turning incoming threats into scattered metal before they can reach the ship. The crew calls it angry steel, and at this moment, it is one reckless decision away from being heard. Inside the Combat Information Center, the Aegis system is doing what it was built to do, merging every piece of available data into one clear picture. Radar returns, sonar input, and electronic intelligence all flow together on the screens. Every crew member sees the same disturbing pattern: the bearing, the shrinking distance, the direct approach, and the rising speed. The ship's electronic warfare suite, the SLQ-32V3, remains silent and passive, listening across the spectrum. It is searching for the unmistakable signal of targeting radar, the kind of signature that would show the situation had shifted from pressure to immediate danger. So far, the airwaves are clean, but the crew understands that silence does not always mean safety. Above them, the ship's eye in the sky is being readied. The MH-60R Seahawk, known throughout the Navy as Romeo, is the destroyer's vital overwatch and early warning platform. It can scan surface vessels, track underwater contacts, and in moments like this, provide the visual confirmation everyone is waiting for. On the flight deck, the crew receives the launch preparation order. Rotor blades unfold, tie-down chains come free. Every movement is controlled and familiar, practiced countless times before, but no one mistakes routine for calm. The entire ship is now only one order away from a full combat posture, and every sailor on board understands exactly what that means. At 5:19, the Seahawk rises from the deck, its twin engines cutting through the morning haze. Its call sign is Razor 2-1. The order is clear: observe, confirm, and keep all armed systems inactive. As the helicopter banks south, its FLIR pod immediately finds the 3 Venezuelan patrol boats below. From above, the crew confirms the profile. Small hulls, high speed, a loose V formation moving with purpose. Their wakes slice across the water in long white lines as their engines push close to maximum output. Razor 2-1 reports back to the destroyer. Gravely, visual confirmation on 3 hulls. Formation steady, speed 28 knots. The sensor operator switches the MX-20 turret to thermal imaging. Bright figures appear inside the cabins. 3 at the helm positions, 2 near midship, 1 aft. Every one of them appears focused on the destroyer. The Gravely holds course. Its powerful SPY-1D radar continues tracking the boats with extreme precision. But the crew avoids the one step that could change the tone of the entire encounter. They do not activate a full targeting lock. That move would shift the message from defensive awareness to direct pressure. Instead, the Romeo circles wide above the scene, a quiet reminder that the United States Navy can see everything happening below. For now, it is a standoff, and the space between both sides is shrinking by the minute. By 5:22, the distance has narrowed to 5 nautical miles. Close enough for the Venezuelan crews to read the Gravely's hull number on the steel. Close enough for every sailor aboard the destroyer to feel the tension settle in their chest. The bridge makes the first move with a formal broadcast. Venezuelan naval vessels, this is a United States warship operating in international waters. You are closing distance at high speed. Alter course immediately. Silence. The seconds stretch, slow and heavy. Then the CIC watch officer reports the update. Lead vessel still increasing speed, 29 knots, range 4.8 nautical miles and closing. The captain's voice stays calm. Set visible posture. I want all topside systems within sightline, no targeting radars active. On deck, the Phalanx Sea Whiz mounts shift just enough for their barrels to catch the rising light. The 5-inch mount holds its position. From the perspective of the Venezuelan helmsman, the message is deliberate and impossible to miss. We see you. Do not force the next step. The silence after the Gravely's broadcast feels even heavier until a reply finally breaks through the communications channel. The voice is tense, the accent unmistakable. "This is Venezuelan Navy Patrol. You are operating close to our territorial waters. Identify your mission." The bridge answers at once. "Venezuelan naval vessels, this is USS Gravely. We are operating legally in international waters. Maintain safe separation." Then comes the key maneuver. The Venezuelan boats ease back slightly, dropping from 28 knots to 20. But they do not break formation. Instead, they continue shadowing the destroyer along its starboard beam at an extremely close distance of 3.6 nautical miles. It is a dance now, measured, deliberate, and dangerously close to the edge. Every sailor aboard the Gravely understands the rule no one needs to say out loud. It is easier to create a crisis than to explain one afterward. That is why the rules of engagement are fixed so deeply in every commander's mind. Under United States Navy policy, a ship may respond with serious force only when there is a clear hostile action or unmistakable hostile intent. A fast approach alone is not enough. Even a radar lock may not be enough unless it comes with a clear indication of an immediate threat. So the Gravely remains steady. Her cameras record. Her radar tracks every movement with remarkable precision. Her crew watches every shift in speed and formation. But her missile cells remain closed. Restraint had become the strongest tool available. That is the strange logic of deterrence. Sometimes strength is shown not by acting, but by proving you are ready to act and still choosing control. What made this moment even more complicated was the map itself. The destroyer was operating 14 nautical miles off the Venezuelan coast, clearly inside international waters. But Venezuela claimed broader authority under its Bolivarian security zone, a unilateral policy the United States has never accepted. That disagreement over interpretation is exactly why these shadowing runs happen so often. They create controlled pressure without crossing the line into open confrontation. Legally, the Gravely was on solid ground, but for the crew, the legal argument mattered less than avoiding the kind of mistake that could become tomorrow's global headline. One wrong call, one misunderstood signal, one radar spike read the wrong way, and the entire encounter could shift from a routine patrol to an international crisis in under 10 seconds. Then, at 5:34, the pressure finally eased. The Venezuelan patrol boats began a slow turn east. There was no final radio message, no closing statement, no acknowledgement, only a quiet withdrawal. The kind of movement that says clearly enough, we have made our point. The USS Gravely held its course and speed, while every moment of the encounter was documented in detail. Radar tracks, communication attempts, system levels, sensor records, and internal readings from the main mount were all collected, reviewed, and sent to United States Southern Command. Razor 2-1 remained overhead for a final pass, circling above the area before returning to the deck. Its sensors confirmed that the Venezuelan boats had rejoined formation and were now moving parallel to the coastline at reduced speed. In Washington, analysts would study the incident frame by frame. Was it a test of American response time? Was it a calculated political signal? Or was it a show of frustration after a week of United States maritime operations that had placed Caracas under pressure? For the sailors aboard the Gravely, the answer was not the priority. They had completed the mission, followed the rules of engagement, and kept a dangerous standoff from becoming something far worse. This was not an open clash. It was not a mistake. It was a message delivered through movement instead of force. And every commander operating in the Caribbean understands one uncomfortable truth. The next time 3 contacts appear on radar, they may not turn away so easily. For the sailors aboard the Gravely, the political questions were not the priority in that moment. Their job was clear. They had carried out the mission, followed the rules of engagement with discipline, and kept a tense standoff from becoming something far more serious. That kind of restraint can feel frustrating when the pressure is high, but it also captures the core paradox of deterrence. Sometimes the clearest display of strength is proving you have it, while choosing not to use it. Still, every commander operating in the Caribbean understood what this incident really meant. This was not a random encounter. It was not a simple navigation mistake. It was something more calculated, a message delivered through movement rather than direct action. Venezuelan patrol boats do not just happen to slide into the path of a United States destroyer by chance. In this environment, every maneuver carries meaning. Every response and every decision not to respond shifts the balance in the Caribbean. The confrontation was over, but the quiet chess game was still in motion. The next time those 3 boats appear on a radar screen, they may not turn away so easily. Maybe next time someone moves a little too close. Maybe someone reacts a second too late. Or maybe this quiet friction finally becomes impossible to ignore. The message sent by the Gravely's steady presence, supported by its Aegis system and its unmistakable defensive posture, was clear, deliberate, and impossible to miss. We see you. Do not make the next step necessary, so now the question goes to you. If you had been in command of the USS Gravely that morning, watching 3 contacts accelerate toward your ship's beam while balancing political pressure and strict legal limits, what would you have done? Would you have held the line and stayed measured, or would you have shifted to a stronger visible posture? Share your answer in the comments. I really want to know where you stand. And if you want to support the channel even further, consider joining the fleet. You will get loyalty badges, priority replies, and you will help us bring more real maritime stories to the surface. Just head back to the channel page and click join. Fair winds, sailors, and remember, coffee always tastes better after a close call. I will see you in the next one.